in a sense.
So
In
I'm talking
terms
to
of
Zoppa. Oh, I forgot to hit the recording button. I'm talking to Zoppa here after the gold rush on September 29th, 2021. Another day that will live in infamy in the stock markets. And he's talking about skew, call put skew on the Qs and SPY, obviously two big indexes that we track to try to get a flavor for what comes next. So you got the floor, man. Fire away.
yeah, yesterday I was paying attention to what you were mentioning about the skew and the put to call ratio. And yesterday's SPY had favored the calls, meaning the sentiment for SPY was going to be bullish.
Mm-hmm.
The ratio was about 2.3 or 2.5 million. It fluctuates throughout the day. And the Qs, meaning tech or NASDAQ, was not catching up. It was under. It was actually skewed towards puts by about negative 300,000, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited because the two indexes affects each other to see where it's going to be, because where it's going to go. Because yesterday the Qs, I think, had a support around 360, and so I think there was a lot of anticipation for a bounce, and but the skew didn't turn bullish towards the calls until the very end, and not by a lot, just by a little bit. The SPY, on the other hand, was skewed towards the calls by about 2.3 million. So I thought maybe it's going to be a good day today, which it was, and it started out that way.
Yeah, it did.
But in the morning, when I checked the skew again, the ratio reverted back to puts, favoring the puts
Mm-hmm.
by about, like, I want to say about 100,000 or 300,000 for both indexes, which means SPY that skewed towards the calls yesterday, that was really bullish, it turned completely back to bearish, even though we were green, but the flow was actually negative. And throughout the day, it got worse and worse, meaning it skewed towards puts, like, like from the 100,000 into 2 million for the SPY, and about 1 million for the for NASDAQ.
That's today
So
you're saying. Today that was.
for today, right? So even though we were kind of green, I mean, NASDAQ turned red a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but the flow was completely it skewed towards the puts way more than compared to yesterday. Like yesterday was actually promising, because I think we were at support for NASDAQ especially, and also a little bit for SPY too. There was that kind of potential for bounce, and I think people were anticipating that.
Yep. Well, here's you can see on. I don't have it. I guess I should stream this. Huh? Um, so let me go live on this. So I've got the stream up. So here you can see what he's talking about, and this is the channel SPY's been trading in. I'm going back all the way to last fall when it started to move up again, and it's trading under the 50, and this is the third day in a row now that it's traded under the 50. So I'm starting to sense that the pressure's building on this market. What's your opinion?
That's what it seems like to me. I mean, if you're just to look at the price action, look at the chart, it's at support, yes. And I think, there's a chance that it could bounce. But if I was to use the skew as a reference, it's not suggesting that bounce is happening, because usually the reason why we can kind of take that as into consideration, I'm talking about the skew, is because those are big funds, right? Like big money.
Right.
We can't tell, like, like people like me buying an option,
Right.
that's going to actually have any effect on the market. So that's why I use the skew as a reference. And it's not absolute, because sometimes it could direct me in the wrong direction, because things can happen. Maybe tomorrow we get the news and something happens with the government, something completely changes. So whatever I see today will not reflect that. But if nothing changes so far, if the skew is correct, then it's not showing that big money is coming in.
So where do you get your where's your indicator? Is it on your platform?
I use a service called Trading View. Wait, Trader. Actually, I forgot. Trade Alert.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so what does that cost?
it costs. It's pretty expensive, but it saved me a few times from making bad decisions.
So,
It's a-
and so that you have that. Do you have that skew indicator running on your screen all day?
I have to manually check. I don't
Okay.
like the way the platform is, how it functions, but just that one thing that works for me to keep on checking is worth my time, just because it gives me confidence in terms of whether if a tick or market has the right sentiment. I mean, I could be missing out. I exited most of my position because I didn't I didn't like what I was seeing.
Today.
And just to be safe, I don't want to be catching a bottom. And if I miss a bottom, fine. But if I'm missing an overall direction, I could be in really big trouble, right?
Right. Yeah. You don't want to worry. You never want to plan your trades around trying to figure out the bottom or figuring out the top, because you're not going to be right more often than not. Right.
Right.
It's just it's a guessing game. No, anybody
Right.
anybody comes and tells you, hey, I can tell you where the bottom is. They're full of it. Now they may find the bottom, all right, but that's not because they knew ahead of time that was going to happen. They just looked at all the technicals all of us look at, and they made a probability bet, and it worked for them. But doesn't
Right.
mean it could have gone. I mean, yesterday, for instance, the SPY bounced in an area that really didn't have much support, much longer
Mhm.
term support. I kind of thought I was going to keep going yesterday, right? But it bounced
Right. Right.
later in the afternoon in an area that it's kind of surprised me it bounced there. I mean, I saw it happen in front of my eyes because I saw the volume come in and kaboom, it reversed. But there wasn't anything there in terms of being a supply zone that would, on your charts or anything, it would indicate that, right? So if you're trying to catch a top or a bottom, you're going to lose in the marketplace. And you're better off taking profits ahead of the top, and better off waiting for the bottom to show you it's already occurred and giving up the profits off of the absolute bottom, right? Because as if you're going to catch an uptrend, if you get 80% of it or 70% of it, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
yeah, you don't want to do that. But so you keep this up here, and it's sort of your classic skew in terms of put to call ratio, or is it actual numbers of contracts?
Just ratio for the one option, the one. There's a lot of different aspect to the platform, but the one the skew part is this one, like I have to type in into what I want to see in terms of the cues or the spy, and there's like a selection to select. So it's kind of manual, but I mean it's not like I need to see a chart to know second to second, but like every half an hour or so I'll check, and sometimes more often if it gets a little bit more intense, like today.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But
what's the name of the platform?
Trade Alert.
Okay, this is the used by that one. Okay, all right. Gosh, look how slow my computer is. I'm hardwired into a fast broadband, and order flow. Okay, so that's what they do, is order flow. Okay, and
Yeah, it's you still have to know how to trade. Like, I mean, Stealth, he probably doesn't use much of this, and he's trading way better than me. But for me, I have, like, I need to like, I know what works for me and what's been helping me, and so far this service has been pretty helpful.
which one do you use, the 150 or the 350?
I tried the 150. There's not much there going on. It's like really a simplified version. The premium is the one I use, but it's really hard to use.
It's not. It's
I mean,
not user friendly.
it's not user friendly, but if you find aspects of it that works, you can just continually like use the same thing that works. There's like there's a flow there. It's like an alert flow of what's trending, which Most option flow services, I think it's similar, right? There's a flow that constantly um, is alerted,
Right,
but
black box and those kind of guys.
yeah, they all do the same thing. But this
Right.
one, it just seems like it's because I tried other ones. I tried Cheddar Flow. It works for a lot of people, but this one I like better.
Okay. Um, all right. So tell me about I'm streaming Trading View, right? Which you caught my eye when because I just signed up for this thing. I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure. I'm going through one by one. I'm going through all the retail trading platforms that folks use. I've never been on one before. I use Marquee, which is an institutional platform, and it's totally different than this, right?
Hmm.
It's just because they're tracking different things. Well, they're not tracking different things. They're tracking things differently. So, anyway, tell me
Yeah.
about the lag on this.
Yeah. If I'm trading Amazon, right?
Right.
It's not as up to speed. Like there's a lagging, and you'll see it if you put Tastyworks right next to TradingView.
Right.
You'll see that Tastywork is like very high. It's like hypersensitive to every little changes.
Okay.
But TradingView doesn't move much. It moves a little bit, and it lags us by, I don't know. I want to say maybe like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe.
Okay.
And sometimes, when it's like really you need this for scalping, I don't.
It's important.
I think it's important, yeah, because you're making decisions based on seconds.
Well, let me just see if I can get an example of that here. This
But
is the SPY right now.
but you can't navigate in Tastyworks, like
No,
whatever
pretty rudimentary.
it's too stiff. Like whatever the price action is, it's all the way to the right. You can't even move it to the center like you just did, right?
Right. Right.
So there's no way you can really. I mean, you can chart, but bare minimum. And so I use TradingView too. I have a lot of indicators that works great.
They've got
Like
some
the
nice
one,
indicators on here. I like the EMA Ripster Clouds. You use those?
I don't use the EMA as much. I use the average VWAP.
The VWAP. Oh, so you do a lot of trading in and out during the day.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I use less of the EMA.
All right. So, because I don't do a hell of a lot of trading in and out during the day. I do it once in a while. Like I did it twice today in MRNA because I've studied that. I've studied the price action on it now, and I'm comfortable with it. Look at this. Look at this candle on the SPY. What time was that? That's a nice candle right there.
Yeah.
Did you take a look at the end of day skew?
Let me see. Yeah, but that's like a positive of like 43,000 versus like, let's see,
What's a positive of 43,000?
like say like the net option delta for SPY towards the is 2.5 million, right?
You
So
broke up. Say it again.
oh, sorry. Okay, so it's so towards the end of the day for SPY, it was 2.5 plus million, 2.5 plus million. So
Puts to calls.
a skew towards the puts.
Skews toward the put. So 2.5. So what is the ratio on that? Let me look here on the SPY. I can probably do that. See what the end of day ratio
I
is.
think it's 1.8, 1.86. Oh wait, that's the open interest. 1.47.
Fidelity is really lagging today. It's really bad. Let me look at the option skew on SPY. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for September to be over. How about you?
Yes.
It's just
No, I mean, like you were talking about the SE. SE had an upgrade, and it fell a couple weeks ago because of offering, I think. But it's a really strong ticker, and most people know it has nothing to do with China.
Right.
right?
Right.
So I don't think the sentiment it was against China that they started selling on SC, but I do think SC is sensitive to Nasdaq. So if the Qs can't reverse, even with an upgrade, SE is not gonna jump.
Right. But I like it where it's at price wise right now.
Yeah, me
I've been
too.
waiting for this. I've been waiting for this thing to come to me.
Me too. I think there's a support at 309.
Okay.
And if it breaks below that, then I'm gonna definitely go in on it.
Are
Like
you in it
more.
now? Are you in now?
I'm out now.
You're out now. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
still
still
in
waiting
for
for Nasdaq to turn.
one way or the other. So I just posted. Check your screen. You see that? That's the trade breakdown on SPY today. Does that match up with what you have?
That's UPST.
SPY.
I see UPST.
No, on the screen. Not the streaming, but on the actual platform. I just underneath Stealth has a couple charts on DXY there. Look underneath that.
Oh, let me see.
Scroll down a little bit.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, does that match up with the numbers you're getting from the trading place that you're up to out in?
Yeah, it's kind of close. It's kind of close. What is this from
This is
Fidelity?
Fidelity.
Cool. Net deltas. The numbers are similar, but what does that say on your side? Is that it leans more puts, right?
Yeah, it's skewed to the put side right now,
Yeah.
which means puts are probably getting expensive too, right?
That's the thing. That's why I didn't play puts because I don't know if it's worth the risk reward. I mean,
Well,
everyone was bracing for a correction, so it all went up.
I don't see a correction on the horizon. But I don't see right now. It's just kind of choppy. So I don't see anything on the horizon that would cause a correction until November.
Hmm.
Now that doesn't mean it won't happen because there's a catalyst that could happen. What you and I are talking on Discord right now that all of a sudden causes everything to go into a tailspin, and momentum begets momentum. So when things start going in one direction, it usually keeps going in that direction.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and right now, I see weakness here. So I don't think it would take much for somebody to pull the rug on this thing. But I don't know what that rug is. The only thing they're not going to let the government shut down. That's not going to happen. Okay,
Right,
that's
right.
just politics. They're playing with each other. Mitch McConnell's just trying to, his only power he has is to try to hold up this shit, right? But it's going to get passed. They're going to pass it. But they're not going to address the debt issue until probably the middle of October. Mitch wants to use it as a negotiating tool with the stimulus bill that's coming through. I get the sense that the politics are sort of a cloud right now over the market, right?
Hmm.
Because it creates uncertainty. Market hates uncertainty. That's the only thing I can see right now that's causing this chop, chop, chop like this, right? Yesterday it was a combination of that plus energy prices were spiking and the 10-year was climbing up, right? So all those things happening at the same time, I think, caused the big whoosh we had yesterday. Today, you can just see the uncertainty in the market by how it traded.
Right, exactly.
There was no commitment in either way on this thing today. So
Yeah.
and the high value ticks, the high beta high value ticks like AFRM and SE. I mean, I like both of those, but they got spanked today, and
Yeah.
and the reason for that is because all the high value ticks and in the tech space are taking a hit. I
Hmm.
mean, let's just take a look at my watch list once. Let's see. Oh, after hours looks pretty good. Oh, pretty green there. All right. So this happened yesterday too. So don't read into this any more than what it is telling you right now. But
Yeah.
during the day today, so Google got beat up. Amazon got beat up. Roku. It's a high beta tech. Look where that's trading. Look what Roku's trading at. 302. 302.
Yeah,
Let's take a look at the
yeah,
chart on that baby once. I mean, a month ago you'd have died to get that price, right?
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good tickers. I mean, Docu. I've been looking at Docu for a long
Yeah.
time, and
What that say? 358 or something?
yeah, I think if sentiment changes for the market, I think Docu's ready. It's just
But I mean,
not there yet.
look at the trend on Roku. I mean, would you touch this here? Would you buy
Yeah,
something here? It's got a little bit of a
yeah,
nice wick on this thing, kind of a mini hammer or whatever at the end of the day, but that doesn't tell me much. Um, you know, so what'd you say, Docu? That traded pretty flat today, huh?
yeah,
It's at 256. Think about that. But I mean, it's got room to run. I mean, this was yesterday, right? Yeah. So it got all the way to 253 yesterday.
yeah. They all
Uh,
lost it.
yeah, everybody went down. There was nobody. I don't think there was anybody. Actually, John Deere was green yesterday. A couple days after I closed my position. That was a couple days after I closed my position.
Yeah, I
So,
remember.
yeah, the fucking thing wouldn't go for me. But um, yeah, so here's Docu. So you take a look at these runs, though. Everything's had since May when we came off those bottoms on the Q, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, it looks tasty here, but doesn't mean it can't come back to June prices, right?
exactly.
It's not that long ago. It's only a few months ago. So
Yeah,
everybody's got to, you got to put things in. You always got to take a look at the bigger chart first to figure out where, if you think you're. I mean, where's the next level of support here? 247,
hmm,
and you can see how it got to these places. Look at the size of that candle.
yep,
All right, it got up here, and the size of that candle, the size of that one, the size of that one.
yeah,
For every one of those, you can see a red one at some point too. So you have to remember that. So I mean, you saw one here, you saw one there. No reason that you couldn't see that happen right here. But you get a red
yeah,
candle, take it down to here maybe 235. So it's you got to be careful thinking you got a good deal now. On SE, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with that one, and AFRM as well, right?
yeah.
Um, but it's a scary market. It's a scary market. So, um, what's your cash position percentage wise right now?
I'm almost 50%. Um, I want to say 45, maybe.
So, what's your view right now? Do you think that at midnight tomorrow, September 30th, all this pain goes away?
I have no idea, but from the flow sentiment, seem like there's no big money to help reverse things. So I'm leaning towards a little bit more down.
Tell everybody what you mean by that. The flow giving you an indication of where the real players are coming in and out.
Like we were talking about the skew. Um,
But
from
quantify that for people. Tell them, listen. Here's why I think that the put skew is increasing. Indicates to me that the institutions are not in a buying mood.
Yeah, because basically options move the market.
Right.
So the skew, in terms of put to call ratio, if it leans towards the call, then that means there's a tendency, or there's a suggestion that the big buyers are putting their money into the calls because they're betting on the market moving up
Right.
or moving higher, and
Right.
that would be a bullish sentiment. So the opposite would be going with the puts, thinking that it's going to go down, which is what is suggesting the current sentiment is leaning towards the puts,
So
meaning,
go ahead.
mhm,
Go ahead.
yeah, meaning the big money is betting that the market has more down to go.
So you see this trade breakdown from Fidelity put on, same thing you have, which is you're basically your skew, calls, puts, and all that. Is there a chart anywhere for this?
For trailer, there is, but they limit it to just like within a day, and it's not helpful for me to just look at what's going on within a day because
Because it'd be nice. It'd
um,
be nice to look at this skew, right? and then go
Yeah,
back. Well, what did it look like in June? What did it look like in July? You
exactly.
know.
Yeah, if there was a chart, it would be great. Then you can kind of, you can kind of back test, right?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
again,
I just sent an email to, or a text to my tech guy to see if he can find something like that. Because that would be helpful. But here's if you take a look at my streaming. Here was September of last year, right? This is the
mhm,
SPY. This is the SPY. We found the bottom. What day is that there? September 25th. And then came back. But then we pulled right back down in, at the beginning of November, pulled right back down. So we had a nice October, kind
mhm,
of, half of an October, and then lost it again. And then once we hit the end of October is when we started to take off on this current run.
right,
That's where we went. So that just tells you what's happened. It doesn't tell you what's going to happen. But
right.
this is you can just see from the end of August it was pretty choppy until beginning of November last year.
Yeah. But November was election, so it's
Right,
understandable for market to get jittery around or
coming
in
up
October.
in October, and then once it's determined who's going to be the president, then any uncertainty associated with that is behind us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, all right. Well, I think I'm about. Let me look here, cash wise. What do I got here? I think I've got right now 60% as of today in cash. So I took some profits that I had there because one of my biggest headache or irritations in the world is having a profit position go red on me. You know, it's like the worst feeling in the world when you had that money sitting there and you just let it go. You lost it. You know.
Yo, that's what happened to me. I mean, I thought today was going to bounce from what So I like the skew, and it works, but it only works for so long, right? Because yesterday it seemed like today was going to bounce, which it did, but in the morning everything changes. So every indicator that I use, they help, but they can't be 100%.
End all and be all. Nobody's the end all and be all. Let's take a look at the Q's. Let's
Exactly.
take a look at the Q's today and see how they traded. So here's the Q's today and yesterday. So that's yesterday. Ugly, ugly, ugly. And then we gapped. We had a nice gap this morning on the Q.
Also, Richard,
Yep.
I was also looking at the cues. I don't know if I was looking at the daily chart. Every bounce prior to like today and yesterday, it's been pretty clean, right? You hit support or you hit certain, I don't know, EMA or VWAP or whatever, and then it bounces. It's pretty clean. Or if it comes back down, it's a double bounce. But so far, the bounce has been really like it lacks confidence.
So, like this one here is a pretty defined bounce, right? This morning on the gap up. But then pre-market already was giving away the gap in the pre-market. Then it rebounced, right?
Yeah,
But didn't hold long at all. But by the time you got to this time of the day, it was giving back up, came back a little bit, but essentially, this is a classic lower high and lower low.
yeah, exactly. And then when it went down below yesterday's low, that's when it tested to break support, and
Right,
that's when people started to buy again. But it
right.
didn't hold.
Nope, didn't hold it. Yeah, it drove it right back up here. A couple nice green candles in the middle of the afternoon or early afternoon. Then consolidation. Everybody's figuring out, well, what direction is it going to go? Well, okay, goodbye.
Yeah,
It's almost like they said we don't want to hold Microsoft, Apple, blah 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 overnight.
right.
That's kind of the sense I'm getting out of this. And speaking of Microsoft, let's see what that did today. I always look at that as because it's one of the biggest traded, and it's a bellwether for the. So it was up 48 cents today. Oh no, it's extra hours. Is it extra hours? No, that was today. Extra hours, it's up 35 cents. So it was up 48 cents today.
They all go up a little bit after hour.
Right, right. So, all right. Well, let's. I guess all we can do is just, grin and bear it is the old term, right? That just sit and wait and see what happens. This particular kind of action you saw today, right here. This is classic sell premium kind of plays. I mean,
Right.
it's just you get chopped like this. If it continues to chop like this, I mean, I was shopping all day yesterday, but for credits, I just didn't find anything I liked. Plus, it was so wicked yesterday. I wanted to get a sense of where the market is. If it continues, if it chops like this again tomorrow, then by the end of the day, I'll have probably about 20% of my account into a variety of credit spreads. And because those, as long as you know what you're doing with credit spreads and stay outside the expected move, and play the RSI, and you understand which tickers you're playing, 95+ % of the time, you're gonna make a profit on the trade.
Yeah.
So, and not as big a profit as if I grab the naked Tesla. It's 800 and it goes to 900. But by the way, where did Tesla trade today? You play that one at all?
Not recently.
So here was this morning, gapped up, what is this? This is September 29th. That's today. All right, so gapped up off on the open like everything else. Made a nice move up to the 792 area. Then collapsed to 769 at one point, or 771 at one point, 770. And then got back up again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty choppy today.
Yep. So this is classic credit spread action right here. Understand when it gets into the mid 790s area that you can start looking at credit call spreads on it. Yeah, because the premiums are going to be elevated, and that's where you're going to pocket the most premium. So, and that gets you through crap markets. Period.
That's true. That's true.
It just does. So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you joining me today.
Yeah, sure.
And everybody who's not listening, you're going to hear this later on because I'm going to have it on my podcast channel under after the gold rush. So please look for it. And what do I always end with? Here? Oh, this one here. There we go. Till the morning comes, right? Thank you for joining me, Zopes. Appreciate your input, man.
All right, Richard. Have a good day.
Have a good evening.
I'm gonna give you till the morning comes. Till the morning
All right, ladies and gentlemen, signing off. Ugly day number 2. Enjoy your evening.